So hopefully you guys are okay with this, but I am going to record this meeting so that way people can watch it and I can pass the message down. But I see some of you guys put some stuff in the chat. Madison wants to drive some team results. That's awesome. Bridget likes the phone jam and wants to see the magic behind it. Absolutely. You're always rocking the phone jam, you and Madison. And then Hannah is interested in learning more about how to run phone jams and do your part for the fall. Awesome. Awesome. Those are all great answers. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much cover everything, but we're also going to go into certain specifics for certain rules. So let me share this. Hopefully. Okay. So as I get set up here, we already did this icebreaker. So one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, and you guys can respond in the chat again, why is it beneficial to phone jam together, right? Why can't you just do it by yourself, you know? What do you guys see some benefits are? You guys can also unmute yourself, right? This is not a conference call, so feel free to just say it out loud. It'll be a lot quicker. But why do you guys think it's good to phone jam together instead of just doing it on your own?
You can like motivate each other to like keep going towards your goals and like kind of keep each other accountable.
Yeah, absolutely, right? There's that team camaraderie, that accountability. That's a really good one. What else?
Friendly competition.
Absolutely, right? Who is anyone here competitive? You know, like pretty competitive. Some people are, some people are not. Yeah, awesome, awesome. And one more person. Why do you think it's better to phone jam together instead of separate?
The energy is just so much more different than if you're by yourself and, you know, not seeing what everybody else is doing. Just changes the energy in your phone calls and how you make demos.
Yeah, totally, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of times our success when we make phone calls, when we do our demos, is based on our energy, right? So there is skills that are needed there, but energy and what we put out also determines how well we do. So that's what's in it for you, right? In terms of doing the phone jams together. But on another note, doing the phone jams operational side where you're actually running it, this is also what's in it for you, where you get growth, you build a resume, and you contribute to the business's air, right? So air, if you think about it, we need air, right? We need air to live and to survive. But without it, right, we can't go on. It's the same thing with a business, right? If you guys don't do phone calls and you don't do it well, right, the business is gonna die. Your business is gonna die. So if you also imagine it where like, wow, every phone jam that I do and every phone jam that you run, it's kind of like providing air. And if you also were to imagine it where every time you do it, you earn 50 bucks in your pocket, it's like that too, right? Because no matter what, even if you don't get all the results you want, at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. So you're naturally putting money in your pocket every time you do phone jams. And of course, it impacts the team. So if you think about what your team goals are, right? I don't know if Kuvi, if you wanna say a little thing or two of what your guys' team goals are for the fall, or what your vision is and what you want to build in West LA, that'd be awesome.
You want me right now? You want me to spit?
Yeah, go for it.
Dude, West LA,
I don't even know what your team vision is.
hashtag Mission Million, baby. We're only 21K away from $1 million. First $1 million office in West Los Angeles history. First office in Southland history to have $1 million office without a CSP. Could be the youngest manager ever to have $1 million office in the company. There's a lot of shit that we're working towards. It's going to be absolutely spicy. I'm so excited for it. And these phone jams that you're hosting, Marianne, and you're teaching us how to host are going to be an absolute catalyst to our growth and our success. So going for almost $200,000 just in active business, recruiting this campaign and seeing this culture and this phone jam culture that y'all are going to be creating is going to definitely help it out.
Absolutely. That is fire, right? $1 million office is something that it's not just an experience, but you can absolutely put that on your resume and talk about it, right? It's you walking the walk and talking the talk. So that's what's great about being able to, or when you're in the opportunity to run the phone jams, you're contributing to breaking records. Every phone jam is kind of like a family reunion, so that culture is there, and you're part of history, you know? So I remember when I first, when I was in the Torrance office back in the day, I was a sales manager, and I led the office to hit its first inner circle award, right? Which is, I think, it might have changed now, but back then it was like the office selling, I think 600,000, something like that for the year. That was the first time that the Torrance office has ever done that. And I felt so happy and proud. But what was more awarding was not getting that prize or hitting my goals, but it was the people that developed and how they grew as we were going for our goals. And that is what's great about running the phone jams, is now you're not only being that person that contributes to the goal, you are creating the results that are going to lead the team to that goal. Does that make sense? Like, you have a part in it, you have ownership. So that's why we phone jam together. Now, some of you guys might do this later, some of you guys might do this now, where you will be in charge of what we call PDI, right? Personal daily interaction, where you talk to other representatives and you have to promote the phone jam, right? No matter what your status is, if you're on here, you should totally promote the phone jam. This is how you do it, right? There's 3 approaches. First, it's the problem solution approach. This is really effective, where every single person, including yourself, every single rep, has a certain setback in the business, where they have either, I don't know, lack of confidence sometimes, or sometimes they read the manual too fast, or sometimes they don't read the manual out, or when they're making, especially related to phone time, right? Sometimes they sound too nervous, or they're too lax when they're doing their phone time. So what you do is, once you know what their setbacks are, what the quote unquote problem is, you connect the phone jam as the solution, and you connect it to their goals, right? So an example would be, what I did is Gianna Jameson, she's in the Long Beach office, and her goal is she's a teacher. She's a full-time teacher, and her goal is to create a school for special needs students. So I told her, hey, if this is your goal, you want to do at least 12 or 13 demos a week, right? If you're trying to earn this certain income. And she was having a hard time booking her demos. So I told her, hey, I really want to help you hit your goal in building your school. In order to do that, you have to get good at phone time. Come to the phone jam every single week, twice a week, and that will already help you not only increase your results, but get one step closer to your goal every week, right? Because I'm going to be there training you, helping you out, and answering your questions. So that's what does that make sense? Like, not if you guys with me? Yeah? All right, cool. So you want to know their goals, or at least connect the problems, and make the phone jam the solution. Second way to promote phone jam is just talking about stories, right? I remember one time Matt Bigham, he was 0 for 8, did 8 demos, had 0 sales, and he was like pretty much given up already. And I was like, dude, just come to one phone jam, right? This was at the very beginning where we first started running phone jams. And it was funny because he was literally the only one. So it was me and him and the sales manager that was in our phone jam, because we just started this program like 4 months ago. And I told him, come to this phone jam, and we'll help you out, and just give this a shot. He came, he set up a demo at 6:30 a.m. That 6:30 a.m. demo ended up being his first ultimate set sale, right? Success stories. So have your own success stories and know other people's success stories, so they can envision their own success. And last way to promote phone jam is talk about how it impacts a team. Just like Herbie said, you guys are going for 1 million, right? West Los Angeles, you're going for 1 million. Promote that. Like, hey, when you come on the phone jam, it's going to help our team hit 1 million, right? And that's all you have to say, right? Over and over again. Every call makes a difference. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, there's 3 main roles when it comes to running the phone jam. There's the demo tally tracker, there's the co-host, and the host. The demo tally tracker is kind of like the admin mastermind. He does a lot of the admin work, which we'll touch later. The co-host does pretty much support. He supports they do 2 things. They do some admin work, and they do some promotional work where they promote certain things, or they share the slides, they share the music. And then there's the host, right? The host is in charge of driving the results. Now, all of these roles come with a skill set. So what's exciting is that you will definitely learn how to work in a fast-paced environment. When you run these phone jams, you'll have problem-solving skills. But you can see here, like certain skills that could particularly fall under that role. So now I want you to always keep in mind, like, what role are you interested in doing? Ideally, you want to know how to do all three of them. But if there's one that you're kind of like, oh, I kind of really, I'm into that, then let me know and your manager know. So that way we can prime you to be like the one, you know, to really excel in that role. So for example, the demo tally tracker is, the admin mastermind is always Ted. And then Day is the co-host where he does a lot of the support work. And then I am the main host. Now, there is a lot of work, but it's not difficult. Okay, there's a lot of work that comes to running the phone jams. Most of it is admin work, but it's totally doable. Especially if you guys want to excel in a certain career that that is not entry level, right? Like not folding clothes, not flipping burgers. If you guys want an actual career, you need to have these professional skill sets. And when you run a phone jam, you'll naturally develop that because there's all these to-dos you have to do before the phone jam, during the phone jam, after the phone jam. So first, prior to the phone jam, this is our checklist, right? So for those who are in West Los Angeles, this is what you want to handle tonight. Now, don't worry, there could be a lot on here, but I'm going to be here to help you guys out. And it's we actually kind of did half of it already. So one of them is creating the flyer and registration link in Google Sheet. That's already done for West Los Angeles. Promoting the phone jam 24 hours before the phone jam. That's super important. You never want to promote a phone jam super last minute because attendance is going to be low. When attendance is low, energy is kind of low. It's harder to run a slower phone jam, and it's harder to run a phone jam with low attendance. For the host, it's going to take double the work because you have to double the energy and think about all these things you can say to make up for time. Next is you want to have presentation slides. We have made that already, so you can either make your own or you can add to the slides, whatever you want to do. Then you also want to establish if you're going to have prizes. Not every phone jam needs prizes. You can run a successful phone jam without it if you are a good host. Does that make sense? Right? And if you have good relationships with the reps that are attending. We never had prizes. So y'all are spoiled, okay? The fact that you guys get like headphones and all this stuff, y'all are spoiled. But it's okay, right? That's just how it is. But you want to establish your rules, right? So West Los Angeles, we need to know who's the host, who's going to do demo tallying, and who's going to do the raffle. Also have shifts assigned. This is more important when it's a bigger phone jam, okay? Just to give you an idea, right? If you guys remember some of the big phone jams you were a part of, there was like a demo being set, maybe like, remember those days where there's like 5 demos being set within like 2 minutes, right? So the admin people, they have to track that. And it does take time to go from the chat to the demo tally tracking sheet, which I'll show you later. So with that being said, it's important to assign shifts where we do it in 30-minute increments. One person does a demo tallying from 6 to 6:30, and then another person does it, and then another person does it, or whatever, you can switch. So shifts need to be assigned. This is more of like a check Excel formulas, right? Only when you're new. I mean, also when you're not new, but more so when you're new to make sure your formulas are correct. Have a timeline agenda. This is more so for the host because part of hosting, which I'll cover later on, is building energy. And there's no energy being built if no one's saying something. Am I right? Like imagine if I only talked 5 times throughout the whole phone jam. Then how would the phone jam feel? What do you guys think? You guys can unmute.
It would be super boring. People would not be into it. I wouldn't be into it.
Exactly. So some of my people might think like, man, she talks a lot. Well, psychologically, it's because I know it's creating energy. Now, the next thing is for the MCs, the promotion lines have to be prepared. You have to choose your music playlist beforehand. It has to be hype music. And you want to do test runs with your presentations, slides, and with the music. And last but not least, create an admin group chat on GroupMe. So these are all the steps before the phone jam. Now, During the phone jam, you want to meet 30 minutes before, right? Because you want to do the test run. You want to make sure that everyone's shifts are in place. Again, this is when it's a small phone jam, you know, and you've done this a couple times, and you don't have to always meet 30 minutes beforehand, right? This is more so towards the beginning. But if it's a big phone jam, you kind of you want to meet you do want to meet a little bit earlier, because big phone jams means a lot of participants, a lot of volunteers or whatever. And sometimes people show late, sometimes people don't show at all. So there are moments where you can assign everyone certain spots the day before, and then they don't show up the day of, or they show super late. So that's why showing up early makes makes everything confirmed. Also, when you do show up early to your phone jam, set up the waiting rooms. You don't want like reps coming in and hearing your meeting, right? Also do another sound check with your music, but this time do it with the host talking. So Ed, when you hop onto phone jam tomorrow, whoever's playing the music, there has to be a third person that's there so they can like tell you how you sound while the music is playing, right? That's super, super important, right? You have to know your levels. Then when you're doing the phone jam, make sure you guys have your tabs set up, right? That's the wheel of names, your Excel sheet, and of course the host, make sure you have your promotional one-liners and the announcements you're going to talk about. So that is during phone jam. And then this is after phone jam. When you are done with the phone jam, the special ops team, right, which is me, Day, Ted, and sometimes Sally, we have a recap meeting. We talk about what went well and 2 things to improve on. Then one of you guys, it can be anyone, needs to text J. Brad the statistics. Oh, how do I admit? Okay. So someone has to text J. Brad the stats of number of people registered, number of people set demos, total demos created, and list of raffle winners. This is the text is easy because everything's already formulated on the Excel sheet. I'll show you that in a bit. And then there's also these other admin stuff where you want to unlink the phone jam master Google form. So that way, because we're using the same one. You know that registration link you guys use, right? Where you guys like sign in. So we use the same one for every phone jam. If we didn't do this part where we unlink the link and delete all the responses, then on your Excel sheet, it's just be like every single person's name from the beginning of the phone jam. So that's really important to do. So someone has to do that at the very end, and then create your own tabs too. We already created one for you, by the way, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so any questions so far? Am I going too fast, or are you guys okay with this pace? Okay, Madison says good. How everyone else good? Yeah, Hannah says good. Cool. All right, so there are 3 types of phone jam, y'all. And as a host or a co-host, you need to learn how to run all of them. So there's slow phone jams, there's big phone jams, and there's themed phone jams. Themed phone jams can be, it's like a wild card. It can be slow and it can be big. Slow phone jams, the way you run those is you focus on development, right? You focus on, the reason when I say slow, I mean the attendance is like less than 20 people. When the attendance is less than 20 people, not a lot of demos are going to be popping up in the chat, right? So there's not as much content you can promote. So what you do is, which you guys probably saw, some of you guys were on my Tuesday night phone jams recently. I just did a lot of one-on-ones with people where it's like, hey, you know, what question you've got for me? Like, does that make sense? You create that like intimate development. So slow phone jams means the registration's less than 50 people. Right now, our phone jam attendance isn't the greatest, but it will get better. About 50% people show. So if 50 people sign up, 20 people are showing up. Also, when it's a slow phone jam, 1 admin person and 1 host is enough. You don't need 3 or 4 volunteers. But if you want to, go for it, right? By all means, especially if you're like trying to learn. And also, in my opinion, raffle prizes is not needed because it's small, right? From a business perspective, you have to think like all of our raffle prizes are funded by your managers. They pay for that. So when the demos are being set up, they will get a profit from those demos being set up because sales will come out of that. But if the number is so low, right, then not a lot of sales would probably happen. So then essentially they're going to be losing business if they give out all these great prizes and there's only like 15 people on the call. Does that make sense? So that's how you run slow phone jams. You just focus on connecting with people and training them, like having them ask questions during the phone jam and you answering them. Big phone jams, y'all have been part of big phone jams, right? What do you guys notice about big phone jams? Like people that are, there's like the region phone jams or like our phone jams during SC2 or SC3. What did you guys notice about that? In terms of like energy or like what the stuff that was happening?
They're generally more themed and like obviously the prizes are a little bit better, but there's just that chat is blowing up.
Blowing up. It is blowing up. When you guys have big phone jams, there's a chance where you can't even read every single person's demo, which is a good thing. When it's a slow phone jam, read every single person's demo because you're gonna run out of content. As a host at least, you know? So yeah, big phone jams are usually registrations over 100 and that 50 people show, right? Or 75 people show. When you have big phone jams, you have to have at least 2 admin, for sure. Have to, right? And you also want to do a leaderboard. So with big phone jams, you're focusing more on competition and driving the numbers. You don't want to have a lot of long conversations. You don't want to have a lot of long promotions, right? Because there's so many things to promote anyways. And with all those people there, you just want to hype it up. You want to just keep hyping it up. And like I said, theme phone jams are a wild card, right? In the summer, they're always going to be big. Like SC2, SC3, they're always going to be big. But if there's also could be like Halloween phone jams, right? We have holidays coming up, y'all. So you guys can run Halloween phone jams, Christmas phone jams, Thanksgiving phone jams. Those are themed. You guys can come up dressed up or whatever you guys want to do, whatever creative thing you want to do. But if you are going to have a themed phone jam, always have a leaderboard. Right, the leaderboard was when do you guys remember when let me see. Raise your hand if everyone was part of like the superhero phone jam during the conference. Raise your hand if you were there. Superhero phone jam or like, man, what was the other phone jams? Forgot. If you were
90s.
part of a 90s phone jam, yeah, 90s phone jam, everyone? No? Man, all right. Well, if you guys are part of some of the phone jams where we show the leaders like, hey, these are the top 5. These are the people who set up 5 demos. These are the people who set up 7 demos, right? That's what I mean when I say leaderboard. You want to have a leaderboard. For slow phone jams, don't have a leaderboard because, you know, it's not really going to be worth it to do all that tracking because it's work. But when you have big phone jams, absolutely have a leaderboard. All right, so moving on to the next slide. How to host. Okay, raise your hand if you're kind of interested in hosting, you know, or if you have like a slight interest in it. Cool, Ed, Chris, Madison, Josh, y'all will be great at it. I already know how you guys are a little bit from just communicating with you. You guys will be good hosts. Okay, there's three categories of knowing how to host well, okay? First one is you want to have the right mentality. All right, so for you hosting people, I'm gonna slow down on this one so you guys can take notes. Okay, so especially if this is your thing. So mentality. When you host, it's pretty much your amplified version of the demo. Think of it that way, right? When you're doing your demo, you don't sound boring, right? You guys have like energy. So hosting is just the most confident version of you. You don't want to try to mimic me. You don't want to try to mimic someone else. It has to be your own style, your own way of talking, but just with like caffeine energy, okay? To you, it's going to sound weird. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel unauthentic. But to everyone else, it's going to sound really good, right? And you guys would know that because you guys have seen me host. Okay, I am not naturally hype all the time, y'all. I'm not yelling 24/7 and being like, you guys are doing great, high five me. Like, I'm not doing that all the time, but that is a performance that I put on because it's all about energy. And a lot of times, whatever energy you give out, people will receive half of it. they'll reflect half of it, right? Really think about that, right? Especially if you guys have watched, whatever performance you guys watch, right? The performers, they give it their all, and we feel something because they give it their all. So if I'm at, so vice versa, if I only give level 5 energy to you guys, right? Where I'm like, hey guys, welcome to the phone jam. So happy to have you guys here. You guys are gonna rock it. High five, right? You're probably gonna feel like level 2, level 3 excitement. But you kind of have to be extra where that's why I go, what is up everyone? High five real quick. It is Tuesday night phone jam. So excited for you guys to be here. We're gonna rock tonight. You're gonna set up a ton of demos and we're gonna grow and learn together. Let's get on the calls and let's jam, right? Big difference. I never talk like that, all right? I never talk like that normally, but you have to amp it up. You have to amp it up. You are the hype coach who gives encouragement, you give direction, and you want to ingrain in your mind that you're actually making a really, really, really big difference. Does that make sense? You are driving people's business, you know? So you are helping impact other people's lives because when they set up demos, they have a higher chance of being successful. And you take part of that credit because you help them get on the phones and feel good about making calls. You will never know what the stories are going to be sometimes. I mean, if you do, that's awesome. But I'm pretty confident that the phone jams that I run where you guys are on, some of you guys demos, some of the demos you guys set during our phone jams were some of the best demos you've had, right? Or you've had like a crazy experience with it, you know? And I don't know those stories. I don't know the success after the phone jam, but I still know that I made a difference. So when you run the phone jam, you got to come with that mentality or else you're just doing the chore and you're just doing volunteer work. Does that make sense? Yeah? Not if you guys got that principle. All right. So once you have the right mentality, then you want to have the right preparation. So preparation means the host, you need to have your one-liners ready, okay? You have to have your one-liners ready. I have a list, on the Excel sheet, I already have my one-liners listed into kind of like 3 different categories. I didn't put this on the slides, so just write this down, potential hosts, right? Announcements is one category. Announcements meaning add your office name, right? Add the office name, make sure you guys don't set up demos more than 3 days ahead, etc. Like these reminders, right, that are good. Second category that you guys promote are like, I guess we can call them events, right? Because on the slides, there's always events, there's always a conference, there's always the next phone jam. You always want to be promoting the next biggest thing, okay? That's how you also build attendance for the next phone jam. You promote it ahead of time. So there you promote events, and then you drive the numbers. So there's like it's kind of like a result-oriented phone jam where you're promoting the results, right? So you want to kind of also have your own way of saying things in a fun manner where I always go like, hey, hey, Bridget, you are like at 4 demos, right? You're only 1 demo away from hitting your goal, but you're also tied with Fiona. You see what I mean? Like those are the one-liners. Instead of me saying like, hey, Bridget, you're at 4 demos. Good job. Like, that's it, you know? Just really quick, just so I know, because people on TLA are having a hard time logging on. Did you guys need a password when you guys logged on? No? Yeah? Ed, what password did you use?
It's the one that's on here. I just clicked on the top left and it is 724980.
Okay, let me check that. Oh, actually, if anyone's on the chat, can someone do that for me really quick? Ted, would you mind? How do I?
The link that they sent worked.
If you click on the bit.ly link, it works. But if you like try and just type in the ID, then you need a password.
Yeah, Edson, can you put that in the TLA chat?
Yeah.
I'll
okay.
do it.
Tell me,
The
yeah.
one that did, but
Yes, thank you all the admin people for helping me out. So this is also why we need 3 roles, right? Because the hosts always needs to focus on hosting. Hosting is pretty much just people connection, right? People engagement, driving results. It is so hard to host when you're focusing on admin work and all the little tiny details. So that's why whoever is the main host shouldn't do admin work at all. You'll have enough, you have enough to do already. Yeah, exactly, Joshua. Just like a radio show host, right? It is that you guys are doing you are the energy of the phone jam. So anyways, preparation, right? Have your one-liners ready. For those who are potential hosts, record yourself and practice 5 times, right? Don't rely on your confidence. Don't rely on your confidence. If you are naturally outgoing and you naturally like wing things, you naturally are just really good at that, that is awesome. Don't do it. Okay. This is a division event. It's a professional event. And the thing is, there will be stuff that might pop up last minute during the phone jam where you will get flustered, right? Tech issues, or someone drops off, or like no one can hear you, right? Music is too loud. There's all these potential problems that I've encountered where I would get like stressed and it would mess up my lines, right? So that's why I created my own like one-liner list. So record yourself, practice, and have your stuff ready. Okay, when you are doing your 30-minute meeting, the previous meeting before the phone jam runs, have the Excel sheet ready. The Excel sheet is where you'll see the demos being tallied and the raffle, the names of people who are qualified in the raffle. And then also have your screen ready where you can see the chat, right? You have to see the chat. You have to engage in the chat as a host. And then know your people and your audience, right? So, don't be like me, where when I can't blame myself too much anyways, because it was the first phone jam I ran, it was like super last minute. I found out I was running a division phone jam literally 10 minutes before the phone jam. And I had no idea who was from who, what division is what, who was from what office. So I was just saying all the names wrong. I was like, yeah, great job, Sally from NOC. And it's like NOC. So know your people, know the office names, right? So hosts, I'll get you a list of all the office names so you know the acronyms and which office they're from. And then if you want speakers, right, let them know ahead of time, either like the day before, or if you see them hop on, right, text them personally, like, hey, would you be down doing tips? Right, Kubi's so awesome because he always says yes every time I ask him, right, because he's groovy like that. But let them know ahead of time and see if they're able to hop on and give some tips. And then, of course, I mentioned this earlier, have an agenda and a guide. How I do things is I say something every 15 minutes. That's my time frame. What I say will change, right? Before I tried like following an actual agenda where like, all right, 6:15 I promote this event, and then 6:30 we'll do raffles, 6:45 I'll spotlight people, right? I try to do that. It actually doesn't work well because things happen last minute, and then sometimes the chat is already engaging enough. So what I did instead is every 15 minutes I plan on talking, or maybe even before that. And what I do is I just have options of what to say, right? So that's why I have like 3 categories of like, all right, am I going to announce something right now, or should I promote like who's close to who? Should I promote the top 5 right now? Or I can promote an event, or do I promote a quote, right? Sometimes I promote motivational quotes from the slides. So you have options, but don't be a stickler about like, all right, at 6:30, I got to promote this. Because another thing about hosting, which is tricky, you're gonna have to develop this skill as you do it, is you have to read the energy. You have to read people, and you kind of have to feel it out. It's hard for me to train in because it kind of comes with your gut feeling, So have some type of agenda anyways. And the last preparation that is really also just as essential as having an agenda is know your basics of phone jam. As a host, you will have a hard time running a successful phone jam if you don't even know the basics of your phone jam. phone time, right? If you don't know the basic skills that come with phone time. For example, someone answer me, on average, how many calls does it take to set up one demo with people that you know? What is the average?
1 to.
What is the average? Say it out loud if you, let me see pull the chat. 5, you got it, right? Crystal, 10, Crystal said 10, absolutely, if it's people that you don't know, like recommendations, you know, people you're not so close with. But if it's like mom, you know, mom, aunt, grandma, like, you know, then then it's 1 to 5. Some people are rock stars, right? And they really get their phone time going, and they can set up 4 demos from 5 calls. But don't bank on that, right? Because if you don't hit it, you'll be discouraged and you won't do phone time anymore. So I don't promote that. I promote, hey, if someone wants to do, someone says, hey, my goal is 2 demos, and now I'm starting to ask people, this is new, by the way, but I'm starting to ask people, how many calls are you committed to? And they say, I want to set up 2 demos and I'm going to make 3 calls. I don't take that. I'm like, hey, that's great, but the chances are, you know, like, what if they don't pick up? You know, so the average is 1 to 5, and I get them to commit to 15 calls instead, right? You don't want to set up people for failure, but how can you set up people for success if you don't know the basics yourself, right? So that's one of the basics there. Also, some other basics of phone time is knowing who to call that's outside your comfort zone, right? People are always going to say, and you guys say this to your managers probably too at some point, right? It's like, oh, I ran out of people to call. Like, raise your hand if you felt that way before, because everyone's felt that way, right? Yeah, that's everyone. Everyone feels like, I had no one to call. We always have people to call. We just ran out of people that we are comfortable calling. So if you're hosting the phone jam, get good at thought joggers. Get good at knowing, like, throwing out ideas of like who you can recommend to call. A couple other basics is how quickly to make, how long it takes to make like 10 calls. Okay, let's just go even simpler. How long do you guys think it takes, or it should take, to make 5 calls? Someone say it out loud.
15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 15. Like 5 calls. If everyone picks up. All right, so what do I see in the chat? So yeah, Crystal says 10 minutes. Absolutely. Cookie says 3 minutes.
Just dial the damn number.
All right, 5 calls in 3 minutes. That's when you're a pro, I think, and no one picks up. All right, so 10 to 15 minutes, yeah. I mean, I think honestly 10 minutes is enough if you're dialing right. You know, if it rings, if you have a hit list, right? If you already have 5-10 people, let's say, okay, we're doing 5 calls. Let's say you have 5 people and their numbers already listed. All you gotta do is call them, boom, boom, boom. Then it'll take you 10 minutes. But if you're like, you have 2 people and then you're like, you have 3 people in your other notebook and then another person that you're thinking about messaging on Instagram or whatever email, then yeah, you'll take long. So you want to know these statistics and you want to get good at your phone time to drive people to do it. Because then you'll pick it up where if someone says, oh, my goal is to make 10 calls by tonight, and it's already been 30 minutes, and I ask them like, hey, like, how many calls are you at so far? And they're like, oh, I'm at like 5 and 30 minutes has passed. You got to call them out, right? You don't want people to have the wrong foundations when running a phone jam. So you're like, hey, it's great you made that 5 calls, but actually, if you just call them, if you set up your list and just call them really quick, it should actually just take you 10 minutes, you know, 10 minutes to make 5 calls, because not everyone picks up anyways. So know those basics, y'all, and execute them yourselves so you can really help people out. Speaking about execution, hosting is all about energy. It's all about energy. So people, like I said, people will feel 50% of the energy that you give out, right? And if you don't have that super intense energy, it's just gonna be kind of like chill, you know? And if you're chill and they're chill, then what's gonna happen to the numbers of demos being set? What do you guys think? It's gonna go down. It's gonna be slow, okay? So pick up that energy. And if you guys are, and my manager used to tell me, hey, fake it till you make it. You know, if you're not super, super confident, I wasn't super confident when I first started phone jamming. I was always nervous. I was so nervous. I would fumble over my words. And I cared so much about what people think because I'm a big people pleaser. So I didn't really run it well in the very beginning. But because I did it over and over again and I just faked it, it naturally just became, you know, ingrained. And so then started to feel more confident. Okay, another thing that's really important about hosting is you have to care. You have to genuinely care about the people that are on that call. If you don't care, then you might just sound like you're just saying a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? And people don't feel that love or that connection or that encouragement. Everyone knows when someone's faking it and when someone doesn't care and when someone does care. So when you generally care about people's success and you want them to do well, they'll feel that. And then you have the right to drive numbers. Does that make sense? Like, someone tell me what I mean by that. Like, if you really care and you show that you care, then you'll have the right to push them.
I think when someone can tell that you're not that you don't genuinely have their best interest at heart, they're a lot less inclined to listen to you, and you don't really have any, they don't have any reason to listen to you. So when they can see that you actually do care about them, then saying that gives you the right to actually drive the numbers. It's it comes from a place of, something that they can actually trust or listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't care what you say unless they know that you care, and you can't fake that. You can't fake, you can't really fake that. So when I run my phone gyms, I generally care, and was there times where I felt like not caring? Absolutely, because I'm tired, just being honest. But, at the end of the day, I still care. I want people to do well. And I think the biggest part is from my own personal experience. I was so blessed. I had a great experience with Cutco where my manager cared so much about me, not only about my professional work, but personally. So she helped me not just with work, but with life. And because of her love, I was able to be successful during and after Cutco. So yeah, when you care, you show it, you can drive the numbers just like a real good coach. And we have and the last point of execution is you have to have great music that fuels you, right? If you have slow music and you're not into it, it's hard to get that energy naturally. You have to have good music so you yourself feel excited and then other people will feel excited. So today we actually have a super special guest where the person who knows about music and knows how to really bring the music up and nail it is our special DJ, Herbie. So everyone just give a little claps to the Isolator, right? Do some claps, yeah. Do some claps for the Isolator. He's actually gonna take over the slides and talk about musicology. So go for it.
Perfect. Can you guys hear me? Is my mic on?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually spotlighted me. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me bring this down a little bit. So the first tip, more so kind of just like observance. Most people plan everything for a phone jam, but most miss planning out the music choice. So think about it. In between announcements, tips, quotes, etc., the music is a glue that brings everything together. So if you guys really observe the phone jam, not as a attendee, but maybe just an observer, you'll see how we're always striving to have a consistent flow with everything. So as Marianne or Lynn is hosting, we're always thinking 1-2 steps ahead on how will the music jump back in smoothly. Of course, we kind of just have those taglines where we can say like, hey, Herbie or Day, Ted, or whoever's playing music, drop back the tunes. But we do it enough to a point where we are very intentional with the music coming back on and off. So it's not just one thing that we kind of just have as a background elevator music, because again, you guys are driving demos. So we're not having music as a background. We're actually using music to feel that energy, because people are they're sitting down, they're looking at a screen. Your physiology is in a statue type of mode. So the high energy music is going to definitely help with people kind of getting their mind and their body right. The University of Oslo did a study with music itself. The average person sways their head 7 millimeters while listening to music. Um, and they even push it a little further that not moving to dance music is nearly impossible. So obviously, if you're trying to just be a statue, then that's a little different. But if they ran a study where they had a big group of people, and then they measured the types of music, if it's something like hip hop, if it's something like slow jams, people will kind of slowly sway and nod, very minimal. But they pumped it up to higher beats per minute, house, EDM music, and even upbeat remixes of traditional songs. And the amount of movement gradually increased. So having that selection in your guys' music shouldn't just be a back thing aside from all the admin and hosting, but it also should be a factor into the main play of these phone jams. So be purposeful with your song selection. Examine your audience. The most nostalgic point of people's life is 13 to 21. So this is the timeline their mind sticks to certain genres or music. So for example, like when do you absorb the most amount of music? And that's usually in high school. So depending if you're in your 20s or if you're in your 30s or 40s, you kind of have to gauge back a decade or two. So that's why you'll hear certain people like, oh, I love 90s music. Oh, I love 2000s. Now we're in that generation where we're getting a lot of the younger cats. We're in the 2010s. So if you can find those certain songs that have upbeat remixes, there's so many out there now on Spotify or even just YouTube, and you can just get a nonstop playlist. That'll definitely stick to their heads. For example, Bruno Mars is really hitting it with a lot of that nostalgia, and he's getting big from that because he's hitting the generations from back then, not just currently. So if you think about it, he's playing current music, but he's still hitting a genre that was 10, 20 years back. So if you guys like choose those types of music with a faster beat to it, it'll definitely push not just the attendance, but push the engagement. I think why we're so successful with these phone jams is whoever's hosting and myself included, we put a lot of effort into finding all these small tidbits of how we can make this thing a little bit more exciting than just looking at a screen. Naturally too, like I like playing on what Marianne said earlier about the energy for the hosts. Guys, myself included, we have a very natural knack of being a very too cool type of host, where I don't know if you guys like know the whole almost like I'm a too cool rapper kind of host, or hey, what's up everybody, welcome to Phone Jam, we're here, we're about to, that great, that sounds cool, but this is not the type of, I guess, like virtual venue that fits that mold. So I mean, you could do that on Twitch, you can do that on Facebook Live or anywhere else, but here that doesn't push the energy. So it's very mindful, even myself included as a DJ, to get out of that too cool hosting mentality. So sometimes you might even catch yourself, and Marianne put up a good point, is record yourself doing it, because you might watch yourself and you might think it's cool in the moment, but then when you record and you watch yourself, you can kind of see like, oh, this is making me feel kind of chill, kind of too chill. Okay, I think I need to step up my energy levels. I need to maybe sit up more. Maybe I need to drink 3 cups of black tea just to get my my caffeine levels up. If you guys watch me DJ, I'm always sipping on black tea for those big phone jams and anything like that. That's not really for me, but that's actually for everyone to have a better engagement, because if I'm feeling kind of just like chill and laid back, it will flow into the music that I'm playing. So I know for myself, I need to do my due diligence and get my energy up so that it reverts to the music, and then the music speaks out to everyone else. And then finally is play the bandwagon effect with all this energy type of music. You might see your audience, especially when you do the whole group look on Zoom. And some people might just like be, too cool for EDM or house. That might just not be their genre, and that's fine. But if you kind of look at the science behind it, there's people who listen to gangster rap, there's people that listen to old school, slow jams, everything that's not electronic. But when they go to EDC, when they go to Coachella, oh my gosh, I'm all about it. So these are the types of people that play into the bandwagon effect. They might not listen to the music, but because they're in a phone jam realm, they're with other people that are engaging it, it'll click person to person, especially when the host kind of spotlights someone who's dancing and they kind of build that one-on-one connection. It kind of, I see it in the whole group because I'm always observing everyone, and I can see people kind of like eyeball while they're making a phone call, and they're probably thinking like, oh, they're getting spotlighted, okay. And you can see people's like body change. You can see them kind of sit up more. You can see that they're like on the phone a little bit more intense and aggressively. So play to the bandwagon effect by using all these small little bits of music, engaging with the host maybe talking back with whoever's co-hosting, or even if it's just the admin person, drop in a fire song. It could be a throwback. Like Marianne's great at, oh shoot, oh I remember this song, and it could just be like a remix of something from the 90s. Again, a lot of 90s hip hop and R&B are very chill, but you put a remix to it, and then you'll hear Lynn or Marianne comment on it. That's that extra energy. You get that radio host engagement. Now it's not just the host that are fired up. Now it's also like everyone who's making a call. They're kind of just like, oh shoot, I need to be in this realm with Marianne and Lynn and the DJ. They're fired up. Okay, I'm gonna follow along. So go ahead and hit the next slide. So how to utilize the music itself, try searching these genres on your Spotify playlist. So whoever is doing music, whether it's the host or the admin, the known genres that we kind of hear of is EDM, house, funk, and pop. Some subgenres that you may not be too familiar is tropical house, future bass, new disco, and Jersey club. These are a lot more of the high energy genres. Go ahead and have a field day where you just search on Spotify and see what you can come up with. You may not like a couple of the songs, but see not for what you like, but more so your intention on how you can deliver with these types of music. I mean, I have my personal genres that I like, but at the same time too, as a DJ, I don't play what I like. I play the small parts of it here and there, but I play what's going to move people. If I see they're not moving, I gotta switch it up. If I see them moving, I gotta let it ride. So again, for whoever is doing the music admin or hosting, a couple of preparation tips is have 3 to 5 playlists ready. One is not enough. Even though it could be, 20, 30 songs and can last entire phone jam, have 3 to 5 playlists ready and loaded. And then keep an eye on your audience. Just because you're behind the scenes doesn't mean you have to be only behind the scenes. You can be at the forefront of changing the energy. Even if you're just playing a Spotify playlist, you can jump the tracks, and then you can kind of gauge where people are going with their phone calls. If times need to be a little bit more epic, I would say I'll play like a movie score. If the energy needs to be picked up, I'll bring it back to EDM or house. If things need to kind of like chill out for a little bit, I won't chill out too long, but I'll have it enough for a breather so people can kind of just reconfigure their minds, and then I'll bring it back up with like a higher energy song. So let the music ride if people are engaged, and then switch it quick when the energy fades. So this is imperative too, not saying that everyone has to be a DJ, but aside from the music, DJs are professional people watchers. We always look at the crowd. We always look at how people are reacting. And at the end of the day, we deliver based off of people's visual. So that's why it's also very important to also continuously promote, hey everyone, keep your cameras on. Hey everyone, keep engaged in the chat, because right now we're in a digital format where it's very difficult to engage with people because we don't have that contact anymore. So we have to do everything that we can to continue having contact, having that visual. If you see somebody dance, call them out in a good way and say like, hey, I see that you're enjoying yourself, something like that. Marianne is better at the lines than I am. But just see him nodding, nodding or just making a phone call. If you see someone smiling, that's a big thing. If you see someone smiling while making a phone call and they're not even engaged because they're so like dialed into their phone call, Marianne will sometimes spotlight them. Hey, you know, so-and-so from this office, we see that you're smiling, do well on these calls. They might not even know and engage with it, but you're spreading that bandwagon effect where that's going to trigger and catch on to everybody else. So do these preparations that may have just been in the back of your minds, where you don't have to be a professional DJ. All you have to do is just a little bit of preparation that goes a long way. And we can definitely say it's resulted in greater attendance and, you know, something blowing up for these phone jams. When Marianne brought me on, I remember it was just a small kind of digital thing going on. Now I don't know how it blew up to this big where we just thought it was just going to be one meeting, one phone jam, and now it's a regional type event where we're hitting numbers digitally that I wouldn't have expected on Zoom. So take these tips that we've done and last but not least, rehearse everything that I just said. So even just practicing the music, we always make it a point to practice everything. I love what you said earlier where don't ever go off of your confidence. You can be the most confident DJ, host, or admin person, but nothing will trump a tech run. No matter how confident you are, no matter how prepared you are, nothing will beat a full tech run where you guys run everything from the music, the videos, the slides, and even just conversing with one another. I mean, that's why we have Zoom. You can do it at any time of the day. Hit up who you're co-hosting with and just say, hey, I have 30 minutes. Do you want to just run through the lines real quick? Cool, I'm out after that. So thank you guys for letting me speak. Thank you, Marianne. I hope this brought a little bit of value and a little bit more to the music aspect of phone jams as opposed to what you guys previously had. So thank you very much.
Give some claps, y'all. Give some love. All right, so just to kind of piggyback off of what Herbie said, where the DJs are like professional people watchers, so are hosts, right? So DJs bring the energy through the music and they observe people based on how people react on the music. Hosts bring it through their energy, through their words, and they see how people react based on their words and what they say, right? So like keep that in mind, because a part of the hosting too is not only you have to be prepared, but you also kind of have to be creative. You have to be able to think on the spot and do certain things, like the spotlight thing, right? That, you know, that kind of happened last minute. It wasn't like, it wasn't prepared. It was just, it kind of came to mind. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities when you run the phone jams where you have to go outside your script and you want to like figure out ways to continuously engage people. So last portion before we wrap up is how to admin. And I'm gonna, let's see here. I'm gonna make Ted the host and he's gonna show a video of how we track the demos and the raffle tickets or the raffles if there are some. Let me see, allow host, make host, okay. So Ted, take it away and he'll show you the Excel sheet that we use.
Yep. All right, so who here wants to actually like go into admin on the phone jams? Show of hands. All right, sounds good. Now, this is by no means an easy job. It's a lot of setup beforehand, and you kind of just have to keep paying attention. And for some of the smaller phone jams, it's not too bad, but some of the larger ones can get pretty hectic, especially if you were there for any of the region-wide phone jams. You obviously saw the demos blowing up, and keeping track of a lot of numbers. So what I did create was a video to share with you guys, and you guys will be able to have access to this video later, as well as another one that goes through how to set it up. So without further ado, let me know if my sound is good. We'll be going over demo tallying during a phone jam, raffle names during a phone jam, as well as a wheel of names. Now, if at any time you see that someone has set up a demo but has not signed up yet, go ahead and put their name in real quick. So in this case, I'll just use myself as an example. And we're going to do North Orange County. And then put their name, or put that in. And if at any time they sign up, go ahead and merge or transfer over the data that is in the one you filled out into theirs, and then delete that. So go ahead and actually delete that row. That way, in those cases, you always want to put in the chat, hey, don't forget to sign up with our link. That way, if you win any cool prizes, we can send them to you. That's why this link should exist in the sheet somewhere. Quick access. Now, what I do like to do is highlight or fill color the every other column that I'm working in. That way it kind of breaks up all the white that you're seeing on the sheet. After that, demo tallying. If any time someone sets up a demo and puts in chat, you record it. So, say Lawrence just set up a demo in this fake phone jam between 6:30 and 7. She gets 1. And then Kat sets up 1 as well. Brad sets up 1 down here as well. And then Day sets up 1 here as well. But since he set more than 3 days out, I'll go ahead and put that in this slot here, meant for demos that are set up more than 3 days. But you'll notice that all the data has changed here in this column to correspond with the totals, as well as these up here. Column totals, row totals, and then column totals. Pretty simple. These are the goals for when people want to set up X amount of demos, and the host can congratulate that person on hitting their goal or going over it, or encouraging someone who has yet to hit it. Now, if you noticed earlier, Brad has won a lanyard in the 6:30 raffle. So his name gets highlighted over here. Under lanyard or koozie, these are the raffle names from 6:30, or 6 to 6:30. Since he won and he chose a lanyard, we go ahead and put that over here just to be safe and have a record of what he won. Now, when you're sorting data, you always want to sort. You always want to highlight all the cells or the rows or whatever it is you want to sort. So in this case, we're going to go into data. I'm giving you an example of if something goes wrong, what it would look like. So we go ahead and do data, sort range, and then we're going to go from Z to A because we want it in descending order. We're going to choose column M. Now if you see here, Lawrence 1, 2, 3, 4, or Kat, Brad, and Day respectively. And their goals are 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively, just to make it easy to see the difference. Now we do column M and Z to A with this only highlighted here. We'll sort it going from in descending values. So 4, 3, 2, 1. But since we didn't highlight over here the cells that we wanted to also sort, it didn't. So Day, who had wanted 4 set or to set, is no longer sorted with his row. Also, notice that now the lanyard is on Kat's row. So that is how it shouldn't look. So go back, go grab the entire row. And we'll do the same thing. Data, sort range, Z to A, column M. You'll notice that everything stayed with its row. All the data stayed with its row. That way nothing should go wrong. It may take a couple times to figure this out. So if you want, practice on your own time. But that is how that goes. They also set one demo as well. Oh no, he didn't. It's already over here. Okay, so now that we have set those, this is what happens as demos come in. So as you see them in the chat, you put it in here. They set another one between 6:30 and 7. Go ahead and mark that as another one. like that, and it will change accordingly. So moving on to the raffle names. Like I mentioned earlier, you notice that Brad won here, so he chose a lanyard, and that's reflected here. So between 6:31 and 7, we had everyone set up one demo. So we're gonna go ahead and grab this, and you can type it out, pull it from the chat, or however you want to do it. Just make sure that it all looks the same, spelled correctly. We'll go ahead and grab Day's name here, go ahead and grab Brad's name here, and then we'll go ahead and grab WLA, Lawrence Diarra, and then go ahead and say at the end, this is all that's been set up. Maybe he has a smaller phone jam, whatever. This is where the wheel of names comes in. So the co-host or whoever's doing the wheel of names will have one of the tabs on that site, and this is where they'll pull their data from for the list. So we'll go ahead and grab this, and you notice that Brad only has one entry because we haven't added in the 6:31 to 7 o'clock range yet. That's because he already won, so we took his name off the wheel. Everyone who is on the wheel stays on the wheel, and we just add in the next set of names. Now it could be different depending on the raffle or whatever the manager is doing for that phone jam. So prepare accordingly, and just make sure that Day doesn't have 3 chances back to back. Go ahead and shuffle up the names. Then after that, go ahead and spin the wheel of names, and whoever it lands on, in this case being Brad once again, we're going to go ahead and remove his name, and we're going to go ahead and highlight his win. So he won again, and maybe he wanted another lanyard, so we go ahead and put 2x to reflect that he wanted a second lanyard. And that is pretty much everything you need to know about demo tallying, raffle names, as well as the wheeled names. And just like the demo tallying, as the names come in, whoever is doing the raffle name tracking, they also need to be putting in the names as they come in as well for each demo. And that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This program is still in its starting stages, so if you have any input at all, feel free to share it. We can kind of tweak it here and there. But yeah, reach out to me and let me know if you have any questions. And have a great phone jam.
So thank you, Ted. Does anyone have any questions from that awesome video that Ted made? No? Okay, cool. So I'll wrap it up here. But basically, to give you an overview, right? I'm just gonna run it through. The host will use that Excel sheet to drive the numbers and to drive demos, where they'll make a goal of like, all right, the goal is to set up 50 demos today. Everything on that Excel sheet has a formula of some sort where it will calculate and add things for us. So when you saw earlier when Ted was putting the numbers, right, for every person, at the end, it will pretty much auto add the sum total, and then it'll also add all of the demos that have been set so far. So the host always has visibility of how many demos have been set, so they can promote, hey, we're only 20 away from our division goal, and how many demos that that every rep has set up, and how close they are to their goal. Which is another thing we just added recently, where now I start asking people, hey, what's your goal for tonight for Phone Jam? They'll tell me, and one of the admin people will put it on the Excel sheet. There's a column where it says like goal. So now I can see like, all right, Chloe's at 4 demos. Right next to it says her goal is 5. So I would promote that. And I was like, hey, Chloe, great job getting 4. You only need 1 more to hit your goal, right? So do you start to see how everything's interconnected, where the host uses the admin's Excel sheet that they're running and recording to drive results? and then the admin people are recording everything. So the other thing I'll mention is the host, the co-host, and the admin person, we'll call it like the demo tallier. They have their two separate roles, but the co-host can also do both in a certain way. So especially when it comes to like bigger phone jams, we're gonna need more people to tally the demos. It takes more work to tally the demos versus just copy and paste people's names once they qualify for raffles or prizes. So kind of just keep that in mind, that it's flexible. The roles aren't fixed. Things can kind of be moved around. But the one major foundation that I will say is that the main host should not do admin work, right? If they can help it, if they have the assistants, right? That's the only thing. The other two people, they can switch, whatever. You guys do whatever you guys want. So with that being said, right, I am going to wrap up here where we have a couple assignments, right? So one of them is tell your DM what you learned today and the role you want to play. Choose a phone jam you want to participate in, let us know, and fill out this form, which Sally is not here just yet. So she'll put a link in the chat of a form you can fill out that will help us just get feedback of how this training was, and also just be in touch with you and know where your brain's at, so we can help you guys out. And watch some videos where we'll send it to you, or I don't know how we want to do it exactly just yet, Ted. Maybe we'll just do it every single time they volunteer for a phone jam, right? Then we'll send them the videos to watch. Because Ted made a couple of other videos of like how to create this Excel sheet, how to build it, or how to do this, how to do that. You guys are lucky, it's all set up. So West Los Angeles, we got you covered. We already created your Excel sheet. You don't have to do anything. All you gotta do is plug and play and just use it tomorrow. But for those who are running the phone jam tomorrow, I would recommend you watch those videos just so you have an idea and it's like in your brain a little bit more. So with that being said, let me do a quick wrap up until Sally hops on so she can put that Google form in the chat. But basically, you guys are not learning just management in this phone jam or just admin work. You guys are learning leadership. You know, Steve Jobs says, management is about persuading people to do things they do not want to do, while leadership is about inspiring people to do things they never thought they could do, right? And I know all of you on this chat, there are some times where I push you guys to do one more phone call, one more, set one more demo, and you went past your goal, or I just encourage you and you guys ended up doing more than you thought you were going to do, more calls than you thought you were going to do, right? That is a leadership skill. You are not born with leadership. You have to develop it. So everything you guys see that I do, that Herbie does, that Ted and Day does, that Sally does, right? We developed it by doing these things, by putting ourselves in positions where we're practicing skills, but we're also giving back to people, and it's making a difference. And it allows us to develop that leadership capability. So keep that in mind, because at the end of the day, right, you're not going to remember all the sucky days in Vector, right? You're not going to remember the person who said no to you or whoever like was mean to you over the phone, etc. You're not going to remember that. You're going to remember the days where you were successful, the days where you did something you never thought you could do, the days that you felt confident, and the days you made an impact. And the phone jams do make an impact, especially the hosts. You guys are inspiring people to do more than they ever thought they can do. So thank you guys for being on this call. You guys are the future leaders. You are the leaders, but also the future leaders and the future program developers of this phone jam thing. Like, it's such an exciting time to be a part of this. It's so new. No one's ever done it before, and you're literally being part of history. You're going to be the ones that will help take it to the next level. So that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Sally, who's going to who's going to share the form that we want you, just a quick survey.
The links in chat.
Links in chat, great. So just fill that out. Go ahead and fill that out for us so that we get some feedback on how this training was. And I'll just kind of open it for Q&A if you guys have any questions. But other than that, have a good night. If you got to go, we'll see you Sunday for tomorrow for West Los Angeles Phone Jam at 9:30 a.m. or Sunday at 6 p.m.
The link also has two sections. The first part is your contact info, and then the next page will be the survey questions. Please fill it out if you can, and it's all in entirety, so can develop this program better and also see where you guys are at with how you want to assist and run phone jams.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions, by the way? Thanks so much, Sally.
For my 1 minute.
I have one question right quick. So I remember, or I think the just like managing the playlist and sharing music and everything is a co-host responsibility. But also it was discussed for like the host to make sure that they choose music that's like that helps them be like excited and pumped up. So like should we just like coordinate between host and co-host to like kind of think of something together, or just like have some kind of communication, like how will we do that best?
Definitely.
Yeah. Go ahead. Take it.
Yeah, definitely do a tech run before you guys even see the actual phone jams. Me and Marianne and Lynn, we're on for hours. It doesn't have to be so serious because we're also like very. What would you say? We kind of hang around and do work at the same time.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
talk
so
about
we don't try to make it too business oriented, but that's just all depending on who you're working with. But we definitely coordinate it. I coordinate the music way ahead of time. So, I mean, that is my profession, but for those who may not be, or those who may be restrained on time, just prepare something, your 3 to 5 playlist, bring it up to your co-hosts, and kind of tag off certain songs. Like if you're announcing a raffle, what's the song that's going to play after? What are their last line that they're going to say? That's a big thing that we kind of played off is I didn't know when, so-and-so is going to stop talking. So that's going to be your big issue that you want to kind of just like coordinate is when do I drop the music? Because they could say something and have a last thought and then they'll continue talking, but they kind of meant for you to play the music so they can fade out. So those are just like the small things that it's really important to do a tech run ahead of the phone jam. It sounds small, but it really does help the flow and I like the continuity of the phone jam, so it doesn't get, because you start to it's a 2.5 hour phone jam. If you have that every time you're dropping music, it stacks up, and at the end of it you lost a lot of minutes just trying to coordinate like, hey, are you do this, do that. So if you tackle it in tech run, you should be fine. Organize with your co-host. If it's a quick run through, great. If you guys want to hang out, make it a hangout and business at the same time. But that would be our best bet for what we do. Works for us.
Yeah, and I think Herbie's also talking more so about if there's a DJ too, because it is a little bit different when you're just sharing music, because the way that Zoom works is that if you're sharing music, Ed is hosting, then every time Ed talks, the music naturally just gets cut off or like it goes down. So you don't have to worry about it as much about like managing the music. You just want to make sure you guys have good music, like upbeat music.
All right, cool.
I have a question for the DJ. I've had a few people mention about like phone time, for example, with that either they're already naturally overstimulated, and I've heard that sometimes it's a distraction to do the phone jam with music. How do you speak into that to the people that feel that the music is too overstimulating, or a distraction for them?
If it's a distraction, I mean, like, I see why people could turn down the music as well too, but that again goes back to like your playlist, depending on if you're having too much of a high energy. But again, it's observing the group. There might be like, I don't know if there's everyone saying it, but majority is what you observe like everyone doing. If they're not stimulated enough, I think that's like our focus is more so to stimulate people. And of course there are going to be people that are way too overstimulated for whatever reason is going on. That's something that they could definitely like, oh, hey, we could lower down they can lower it themselves. But at the same time too, it's more so as a group mentality. I mean, as a DJ, you'll always get those 1 or 2 comments, and especially like you can't please everyone, but whoever's doing music, it's more so like the majority that you're kind of focusing to. Definitely for those few key people that may be overstimulated, I would kind of just recommend like, hey, you know, it's fine for you to turn down the music. This is kind of the energy that's going to be brought around for phone jams, just because it works for the majority, versus for like, you know, the one or two people. But that's the best thing that I could suggest, unless Marianne has something that you can say.
Actually, I want to hear it. Can I ask Kuvi, since he's the only DM on this call, how would you get your reps that are overstimulated from phone jams and feel distracted from the music playing? And it's not just a type; it's just in general. Like people that are anxious, I guess.
They just turn the volume of the computer off.
Yeah.
But what he said.
Yeah. Josh, can you elaborate on what you meant when you said in the chat? I was talking to Ted about this at the beach. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Oh well, I mean, I was talking to Ted about like helping out on the phone jams, like tallying and stuff like that.
Okay. So now what we're talking about now, right? Okay. I think those are overstimulated. That's just them. Or there's some people who can't focus when there's so many things happening. They focus better when it's silent.
So do we not invite them and like be okay?
You can come. It's up to them. Like,
no, well,
everyone. But we invite everyone. We always invite everyone. It's up to them whether they come or not. And if there's something they like about it, then they'll stay. But if they can't focus, then just mute their music. And everyone knows we do raffles every 30 minutes. So if they're there for the raffle, they can just turn the music back up for the raffle. That's more of like an individual solution versus like what we do. You know, like there's nothing we can do to cater to them because there's nothing we need to do or should do to cater to them. It's just on them.
I think that as long as we prep everyone saying that this is going to be a high energy type of environment, that already gives them at least a little bit of leeway knowing that to come in versus they just come in and it is, you know, overstimulating type of environment. So I think if you best prep them, you're overcoming the objection ahead of time. It should be a little bit better. But I mean, again, the majority is we're seeing the results growing from, you know, I'm sorry to say, like everyone is understimulated. I think more so at this point, if you're an overstimulated person, then it's, you know, it's something that they just have to personally, you know, turn it down. And as long as we prep them, I hope that they would be happy enough to go with that, you know, preparation that we give.
Personally, I fall in the category of like a little bit overstimulating, but I like to have the company of people whenever I'm phone jamming. So what I do is just like actually turn down the volume, but not to the point where I can't hear it and can't hear the music. I just hear like a little whisper in the background, and I could visually see people like making calls, and I think it mentally helps me to like work on making the calls more personalized. I don't know how to say it, but I
No, you got it. You good. Yeah. Basically, like it helps you to see other people make phone calls. It makes you more motivated and like makes you.
Yeah, the stimulation of working with other people in a group, like how in school I work harder when I'm surrounded by a bunch of people by myself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the end of the day, it's on the person, it's on the rep if they want to listen to music or not.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about it for them. It's just up to them.
Yeah, thanks, Joshua. That was very helpful. And as you guys were speaking, Herbie and Marianne, I just remembered that the ones that feel distracted are already producing numbers anyway. They can do phone jam on by themselves, you know, focused without a phone jam.
Even better.
Yeah. And to piggyback back a little bit of what Josh said about like that people seeing other people make calls, that's kind of on the hosts and co-hosts gut feeling. You know, where you can schedule it into the agenda, but usually I just play it by ear, where it's like, okay, I've been sharing this slide for like the past 30 minutes. We shared a leadership board. Let's not share anything at all. So that way everyone can see other people. You know, you're gonna have to find your time slots of when you can just showcase people making phone calls without showing anything. And so you kind of have to play that by ear. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Any other questions?
I had two quick questions. Actually just one because I know Herbie mentioned the playlist. I have a playlist that is like about 100 songs. So I don't know if that is enough for just like one playlist or if there should be multiple. Because it usually has like all the songs that I listen to and that kind of get me pumped up. So I don't, and also if somebody could take a look at the playlist just to see if there's.
Honestly, it's also with experience too, because everything that I play never.
You can send it to me or to her.
Oh wait,
Okay.
you're lagging. Yeah, everything I play, I mean, doesn't 100% hit all the time. So if that one playlist where you just kind of know all the tracks and you can jump, like, hey, if it's too slow right now, let me jump 3 tracks later. If that works for you, you know, go ahead. If it's a little too one-sided with the energy, like it's just high energy, but there's no drops, so it's just like that the entire time, then maybe have your 3 to 5 playlists. Other than that, it's going to be an experience type thing where you guys just need to hit it a couple meetings, see how it flows, and then kind of build off of that. That's what I do for every phone jam, where I'll kind of like remember, okay, I remember this song hit, this one I thought it would hit, but it didn't. And I would kind of like do a mental tally, and then that can kind of like help your playlist, whether that one playlist, hey, like it works, and then who knows, it might work for like 3 months, and then after that 3 months, like it flops. So it's just go off your experience, start building that experience on that playlist, and then see where kind of your niche kind of fits on that.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, because I have like this one that I made just for phone jams because I feel like the energy is much higher.
Phone jam playlist, those are even better.
Yeah.
You know exactly what the songs are versus just the general one.
So I did that one, and then I actually never thought of kind of bringing the energy down. I have a couple like Coldplay songs in there, but nothing like super low energy. So I do have another like office playlist that I have, and that one just has a mix of more like alternative and like EDM, but I'd say it's just a mix. So do you think like having both of those prepped would be good, or just like the phone jam one?
I personally like to have multiple playlists depending on the energy. So in DJ terms, there's like the hitters, and then there's another playlist that I call the burners, which basically is like the warm up. Think of it like this. So in a club, what do you always want to do? You want to have the crowd jumping and cheering and all that stuff too. But if you're thinking of the entirety of the night in the business, because this is just from my DJ management, you also have to play songs where people go to the bar, because the bar is what generates revenue for the venue. So like DJs would purposely put songs that are like burners, what we call them, where people don't dance, but they kind of like will go engage socially outside. So you do the same kind of formula at these phone jams, where you're working with the host and, okay, right now I need to slow it down because they're going to do a quote, they're going to do a tip or whatever, and then pick up the energy back up. And then if you see if people are too overstimulated because you've been doing EDM, for like an hour and a half, feel free to drop it for like 5-10 minutes, see where people's heads are. That's why it's very imperative to always look at the gallery view, because you can see people's, body. Like if they're looking down, what does that mean? Are they focused? Are they kind of just like out of tune with what's going on with the phone jam? So you have to watch those things, and then it really helps to have multiple playlists. That way you can kind of like hit for what's needed versus just having one, and then you have to like sift through everything. Like I like to have like playlists with maybe 15 songs, 15-20 songs, maybe less, just so I know like, okay, they need a hitter right now, let me hit that. Okay, cool. They need something that just like a tropical house vibe that's a little bit more like beachy and summer feel good, but it's not too strong, then I'll play that. So, and that's all off of my visual of what's going on screen for the gallery.
I agree. For the host, you have to look at 3 things. You always have the chat open. You always have the gallery view open, so you can call out people or just like do spotlights. And you always have the Excel sheet open, so you know which numbers to drive. So when you're hosting, you're constantly multitasking, because you have to feel out what to say next. You have to figure out where people are at, right? because for example, I think it was Tuesday, it was I noticed in the chat, like it took a while. You know, there was a lot of time before someone set a demo. So I had to kind of get creative, or it's just like, all right, what does that mean, right? That's, you know what I'm saying? You have to analyze, like, what does that mean? Why are people not sending demos? It's already been like 15 minutes. It always goes down to two things. Either they're not making phone calls or they're calling too slow. So then what I did is I innovated. It's like, hey, how many phone calls are you at, right? And you want to make it fun still, just like, who was it? I forgot who it was. But let's just say, you know, rep A, like how many phone calls are you at? I know your goal was at 4. And this is more for smaller phone jams, keep in mind, which you will be running tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it'll be a pretty small phone jam, which is good. It's good practice. So you asked me, how many calls are you at, by the way? Cool, you're at 5. That's awesome, right? Why don't you do 5 more the next 10 minutes? And when you do it, I'll give you a high five. Right? Are you down? Are you down for a virtual high five, right? 5 calls in 10 minutes. You got it. Do you see what I mean? So I'm naturally encouraging them, but I'm giving them direction so I can get results. But it's because I picked up in the chat, like, dang, it's been 15 minutes. No one's setting up demos. Like, you don't want to just, you see what I mean? Like, hosting is a beast in its own because you're constantly analyzing, driving results, and engaging and connecting with people to get them where you want them to be.
Especially have your backs as admin, co-hosts, and hosts. Because I remember the time that happened with Marianne, we'd text each other and, you know, like, do I need to change the music? Do we need to engage in some format? But in order to give that energy out, it'll definitely happen where there's going to be like 5 minutes or, you know, just something not going on and the music is playing. And as a host or as the music player, you're definitely gonna feel that. So just know that ahead of time. You're gonna feel that, like, what am I doing wrong? And it's really important to have each other's backs. So whether you're the co-host and admin, whether you're like messaging each other of just something to do and change up, that's how you can give off that energy to the audience, because it's really tough when it's like for example, like right now there's 7 people. Imagine if this was the phone jam and you have to get like 10 more demos. You're gonna feel like crap, but at the same time too, as a host, it's your job to not make people feel like how you're feeling at that moment. So you're gonna have to kind of like get that energy from anywhere you can get, even just like talking, hey Marianne, what you think about this song? I don't know, I think it's gonna hit with these, you know, just something, even if it's cheesy and
random
dumb.
commentary.
Just something where it's not just elevator music, you know, like EDM elevator music just in the background while people are doing their own thing. So always have each other's back and always engage within those like lulls, and it's definitely going to happen. Expect that. And then kind of talk about it, because sometimes maybe pointing it out is like the best thing. Like, hey, it's kind of quiet, let's make noise, you know, like something stupid like that you could say. And you know, we've done a lot of cheesy stuff, and you know, it's just something not to look cool, but it's more so just to get something out there, because silence just kills everything. So yeah, just have each other's backs all the time.
Yeah, be comfortable with being cheesy. You know, I'm cheesy all the time for a reason, because it actually creates energy. So all the cheesy lines I say are like, sometimes the music's my best friend to create content. You guys see me do this all the time, and they'll say like, I don't know, what's the song that I always comment on? I know it's just like, oh yeah, let's do that. I forgot.
Just any throwback that I play, you know, no scrubs, TLC. Oh shoot, ladies, we don't like scrubs. You know, just something that
okay. There was something that I said. It's something like, okay, if the song is saying like, we're gonna rock right now, then I
there you go.
We're definitely gonna rock right now. You guys are gonna rock right now. Like, I always use the songs as content for hosting. So if
it's a final countdown, that's the one.
Yeah. The final. It's always great to end with that song, the final countdown. We haven't been doing that as much yet, but because we're on playlists, so that's fine. It's whatever. Or
Don't
you know,
worry,
just
I have it. Don't worry.
Oh, nice. So you're gonna be set up for success there. Good job. Or just, you know, like there was one phone jam, which was Tuesday, where there was only one rep. Imagine running that phone jam.
It's like this right now.
Yeah, that was hard. I was like, dang, there's only one rep on here. What am I gonna do? So I had to innovate, and I was like, all right, this is now officially a PC. So the music kept playing, and I just kept talking. It was like, hey, like, where are you at? You know, like, how do you feel about your calls? How many calls have you made? How many more can you add, right? And I just kept giving him thought joggers. I kept telling him, hey, call me, let me know when you hit 10, you know, when you had 10 more phone calls, you know, and stuff like that. You kind of have to just play things by ear a little bit. And watch your, one thing also is you want to watch your speed when you host. For example, if you've ever seen Ron host, he's a great host, but sometimes he like talks like a roadrunner. You know, so he'll be like, all right, great job, Crystal. You set up one demo for Monday with Mrs. Jones. Ding. Ding, 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 ding.
Sounds like Twista. Now things, everybody.
Yeah, tonality is key. It's okay to slow down as long as you have that energy. It's just like, all right, Crystal, you set up one demo with Mrs. Jones for Monday. Great job, right? Let's get the next one in. You know, slow down, take your time, tonality, right? Have voice inflection, stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be working on with Ed later on tonight. So Ed and I, we have a one-on-one where, I mean, whoever's co-hosting, right? Because I know, Chris, you also want to get into hosting a little bit. If you want to hop on, feel free. But I'm going to work on him one-on-one around like 8:30 and have him actually just role play with me, like some hosting, and I'll be the rep and give some tips and things like that. So
music?
yeah, you can do music. You can hop on. So if you don't have any other urgent questions, let's end there so that way Ed has a break. But any other urgent questions you guys want answered?
Real quick, have you guys like wanting to create like a program to help with talliers instead of just using Excel?
What do you mean?
Like from scratch?
Yeah.
He means like how we have like Q and like how we have our own like certain things, like just making one of our own.
How to make it after that?
Yeah, like since people already use Q already, maybe Q could be could have its own separate program into it to track with the calls, to track with how many demos they set and everything, so they don't have to put it in the chat anymore. So as soon as they put it in Q, it's already its own program. Like you could see how many calls they made in Q and how many
So
demos.
that is such a genius idea, and I totally support that. I do have one concern. When I've used Q before, I've noticed it was inaccurate at times. Like there's one time it showed sales queue during one of the phone jams, and it was just totally off. Like it says calls made was like 3, and then demos were, you know, like 4. I don't know. It just was. So I haven't used it, so I could just be wrong, but I don't know how accurate it always is because it has to be accurate. You can't risk it.
I think what happens there is
you have so many other offices that you have to like figure out how to combine and all that. Because you got the entire division worth of offices. You have like 10 offices in the division, and then you have all their reps, and you have to combine all that data, and somewhere it's gonna hiccup.
Yeah. Okay. It's just a lot of code and programming, correct?
You'd have to reach out to whoever developed Q in the first place and do that.
Yeah.
But
I think
it's a lot of effort.
If you have the know-how, because Ted, me, and Marianne, I think we just work in a very grassroots way where we're kind of just going with it. And that's why we're always open. Like, hey, if you provide something like with your specialty where you know something that we don't, I think we're all pretty open to improving. I mean, this was just what we kind of created within the last few weeks. But this is just off of what we know. So, I mean, I think it's great if you know how to do programming and like maybe sharpen certain things that we're not knowledgeable of, that, hey, you might be the next inventor of this new program that might be better than ours, you know?
And if anything, I think it would be great if you can figure out a way to automate or just like make it easier to do the raffle tracking. That'd be good. You know?
I have a little bit of programming in my background, so.
Right there. There you go. Nice. Pass the torch.
We definitely got to get you and I. I want to know what you can do, so that way I have better ideas of like what we can utilize. Okay. So let me get this straight. All of you guys, minus Madison, are the ones that are going to be volunteering or just like running tomorrow's phone jam, right? Everyone on this call right now?
I think Josh is also going to be helping. Maybe. I mean, Josh with from
Josh-
West LA.
Got it. He's not on here. So where's
He was earlier.
Yeah, he was earlier, but he had to leave a little bit early.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't assigned roles yet. I think Edson's going to be the host, and then I figured I would probably be co-host, and then Josh and or Madison would be the tally trackers and the admin people.
Okay.
So we gotta get you guys the videos then.
Yeah, so you can, I mean, we have to email it, but then also just kind of like you guys should do like because I won't be able to be there tomorrow. So you guys are going to be rocking it on your own. You guys are going to do awesome. But I want you guys to kind of all be on the same page. Everyone knows who to do what and like what shifts, right? Ted, do you have the shifts? Do you want to share it really quick so they know? So Chris, Ed, if you can take the lead and either delegate or just ask them like, hey, what time? Ask Madison, Josh, what time can you hop on and what do you want to do? Can you do the demo tallying, right? Then get everything finalized today. So that way everyone knows what they're going to do. And then tomorrow morning when you meet 30 minutes before, you can just do like a run through. So Ted, if you don't mind sharing the Excel sheet of like the shifts, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? The shifts of like who's doing what. Like, it's been a while, huh?
We last time we did that was for COC Region Phone Jam.
Yeah, that's true.
I can show that.
Is there any way you could put like some of this in the TLA Google Drive?
Is it TLA?
Well, I don't think we're sharing this entire program with the entire TLA. This is more for whoever wants to be a part of what we're doing.
Okay.
I did post it on the TLA though. Does that count? I don't know. I posted this.
Yeah, it's more to see if people in TLA want to do it because they're people we're trying to that they want to build up to be managers or AMs or whatever. And if reps want to get in on this program, they can. But we're not going to say, hey, all of you in TLA, we want you to do this. It's more of a, if you want to learn how to do this, we can teach you.
Okay, got it. Can you make me the host again? Sorry, make me the host
Yeah.
again. So basically what needs to happen now for you guys is I'd send you to practice hosting with the music, right? So we got to practice your lines, the tonality, and just figure out what you're going to say when, right? So that way it's smooth for you tomorrow. Chris, you're doing co-hosting, right? So you want to finalize, are you using Edson's music, the Spotify?
I don't know. We haven't really communicated on that yet. I figured we could just kind of like exchange
Do
some
that
of
at
the
training.
stuff we have.
What do you want to do? Decide it now, so you guys are on the call.
Well, Edson said he already has like 100 songs put together, so I figured we would just use his because he's already comfortable with that music. So that would probably be easy.
Cool. So that means you have to log on to Spotify, his Spotify, to use it, right?
YouTube.
Or share the.
Oh, you can share this, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So do that, and then you wanna, Chris, you wanna practice, not practice, but you gotta learn how to share the slides and put it on loop. Which is really easy, but I can. Let's do it right now while it's still recording, anyways. So that'll be the last thing I'll teach, and then we'll end because we gotta.
This video is gonna be crazy long.
Yeah, I know. But hey, everything's being covered. But hold on, let me finish my train of thought. So Chris, I gotta make sure you understand how to share the slides, the one that loops. And what else do you do? Do you want to co-host too, where you promote stuff also, or you just want to be behind the scenes?
I think behind the scenes stuff to start would be easier.
Okay, so then you're sharing slides, you're sharing music. You can also edit the slides if needed, right? Because there's some things that might need to be updated. And then you need to practice the raffle tracking. Oh wait, there's no raffle, right? Is there a raffle, Edson? Oh, okay.
I don't think we're doing a raffle. I think Kubal said no. And from what I know, we're not going to.
Okay. So maybe, Chris, what you can do is you can pick up another demo tallying shift. because there's 3 of you guys, and I think it won't be as busy. It'll probably be really slow, but at least you can get the hang of demo tallying. Like you did it before, right? You tallied the demos, or did you do the raffle?
I think I did the raffle one, and Josh or someone else did the demo tallying.
Okay, so now you're gonna do demo tallying tomorrow. Which are you clear on how to do it? It's really easy. You still have to do it.
You just
Yeah, literally just put the numbers in. So cool. So that's all you have to do. And then one thing I would recommend you do for Ed, and also it would help me, is if you have a lot of downtime, right? Because it's slow or whatever, you're not doing anything, write down the one-liners, right? Start typing down all the one-liners that you think Ed said that was really good. So that way we start to build a script for the entire division that people can just utilize. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all you gotta do. Perfect. So the only thing I gotta cover before we completely close this out and end this meeting is how to share the looping slides. So let me sign on. So Ed will, well,
Real quick, I changed over the West LA raffle tab to a shift tab. So whatever you guys want to put names in there for
sweet.
demo tallying, go ahead.
Nice. Okay, so this is how you, I'm going to show you how to put the looping slide. I forgot how to make it incognito. I don't know if I can actually do it incognito on this laptop, but there is a way you can do that.
Are you talking about opening an incognito tab, or?
Yeah. Just opening incognito.
On
tab.
what kind of laptop
browser.
or what kind of thing?
I guess it doesn't matter what browser. I personally just can't do that on. This is my work laptop for my other job, so it just won't let me open an incognito tab.
Oh, all right, bro.
But I guess that's the number one tip when you share the slides that just loop automatically. Use an incognito tab, so then or else it's gonna just literally fill up.
One for every single tab. Yeah.
Your history is gonna be flooded of 2 hours worth of content, or 1 hour, right? Your phone jams are 1 hour, yeah.
An hour and a half for tomorrow, so yeah.
That's not so bad, but still, it's a lot of stuff for sure.
Want me to share it?
You got it? Okay, go ahead. Do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, Ted's got it. Thanks. Laptop's not the best when it comes to certain.
Wait, I'm sorry, but like, what's the purpose of using an incognito tab?
So every slide, when it cycles through, is a different URL. So every time when you go for 2 hours, it just cycles and cycles and cycles, and it floods your history with just all the URLs.
I mean, you could always open up a guest tab too.
Yeah, but
whatever you want to do, never works. So how do you get there?
So what you want to do is you can actually, let me just share my entire screen.
Google Drive, the Special Ops Google Drive. I haven't figured
Probably.
I haven't figured out the statistics of how we're gonna. I feel like we're gonna end up sharing the We have a Google Drive folder for all of our stuff. I think we're gonna end up sharing it with everyone.
We're gonna have to, or at least the hosts or whatever. So basically, you take the link down here, or I guess you can take this one up here. It doesn't really matter.
Well, go
open up
even more. Like, go start at the Google Drive, and then so that way they can get. So we're gonna share our folders with you. So then when you open up the folder, it should say Special Ops, and you want to look for. Oh, we don't have one that says Saturday, huh?
No, because Saturday is the first one we've done.
See, this is good that we're doing this. So then, like, you pick up all these last minute things.
We can just copy one of the other ones and then just rename it.
Let's do it right now, if you don't mind. Let's just do.
Go ahead and make a copy. Saturday. I don't even know where that's going to put it. Oh boy.
Okay, and then the ones that you're going to use also for the Excel is in that folder too.
there it is. Yeah, so this is basically all the stuff we use. This is a copy of Sunday's Phone Jam. Oh, this is all in Canva. They did this on Canva, so everything's embedded.
If we just take off the Sunday parts, would that take out a lot? Because I think it's just like one slide, right?
Let's just create the actual slide. So go ahead and delete the Sunday Phone Jam, and we'll just really create a slide that says Saturday Phone Jam. So Chris, you said you wanted to do a little experience on like this PowerPoints, right? Yeah, or no? I mean, do you want to do that tonight, or do you want us to do it for you? Whatever you want to do, it's up to you.
I think it would be easier if you guys did it this time so I could see how it's done, just because I don't already know how to do it and I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time learning on the fly. But in the future, I wouldn't do it.
We'll literally just put Saturday Night Phone Jam.
Saturday morning.
Phone Jam. Come on, brain. Okay, Saturday morning Phone Jam. And then I forgot what the other stuff said. Let me see.
Okay. Oop. Moving everything around.
Demos
All
in
right. So
it's pretty much just copying the exact same template, and we'll try to make it pretty by adding something like that. Yeah, and maybe instead of gray, when you're done, we'll do like orange or something to match the color right afterwards, you know.
Yep.
Plus, this looks kind of sad. This looks like a sad phone jam because it's all gray.
I just didn't want a white one. It's way too bright.
I agree. I am on the same page as you.
All right, and then go ahead.
This is a Saturday morning phone jam. Put like a sunrise thing. Like that.
Yeah, we'll just change the color from gray to like orange, and that will fix everything, or whatever that color is. So that's good. I mean, now this will be your guys's slides, and for like the next time you run it, if you guys want to kind of create your own on Canva, where you make it a little bit pretty, or like you want to add this, or you want to take out something. So let me see. Yeah, especially once COC passes, then we're gonna have to delete those slides. So always
but we got like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have time. But always be mindful of what's on the slide.
It's gonna be a really long recording.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's why they invented editing.
Oh, I didn't know how to edit this. I feel like
You probably could.
I feel like it's what I'll do instead is I'll put timestamps where it's like from 5:30 to blank. This is what we talked about, and then from blank to blank is what we talked about, and then everything after 6:45 is Q&A, and also and then at 7 whatever, we ended up doing how to do the loopy doopy thing. Morning phone jam. But at least we ended on time in terms of like overall.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a good thing. So the slides, right, is what Day, it was Ron's vision and Day made it reality, where it's like marketing, where it's a constant promotion. So it helps because we don't have to say certain reminders over and over again, because people have seen the same slides over and over again. So September. So you want to delete the September 7 one. Sorry, can you scroll back up where it says division events? A little bit higher.
This is changing too.
Yeah.
So do you want to get rid of that?
We'll leave it on for now.
Okay.
Since we're on a time crunch. Where it says division events, right? Right, that one. Yeah. Okay. Because all the events are done. So we have to add a division of like calendar later on. Also just check the other slides, make sure there's nothing there that's outdated. Keep going.
Doesn't look like it. You got quotes,
Check out
training,
Sunday
quotes.
right there, Sunday Phone Jam.
Oh. Okay, actually then.
There's one, yeah, and then you can copy and paste it into there, yeah. Whoever who put it.
Okay, so like
But this is good also to just kind of watch, because these are details you have to kind of learn how to pick up on your own. There's another division calendar right underneath that purple. Yeah, what is that? Monday nights? What does it say? Ooh, why is that all white? Okay.
That's still a thing, right, Edson? All right.
Yeah, still a thing. Yeah, that's still a
Okay.
thing. I know that. Okay, is that all of
So
it?
I think that's everything.
Okay, and then rename this where it says on the top, copy of Sunday Phone Jams. Try to rename it, please.
Like slide 6, for example, the background got changed. So
Yeah, it's the entire.
Yeah, it changes the whole thing. That's
thing.
not bad. That's not so bad. It looks all right. It'll look all right, and when you, because it's
Yeah. So I hit present.
yeah. So let's go ahead and do the loop.
Okay, so go ahead and grab that URL. Go in incognito. Oh, wait, why is this making me sign in? What did they give me?
Go back. Actually, you have to do one more thing. So what you want to do is you want to go under, I think, settings somewhere, or let me see. There's a tool settings. Try
Preferences?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. No. Something with a link. No, go back. That is the one that you want to go into. Go back to was the format? Was that where you were on?
It's not format.
Hold on. Hold, please. Let me just go on it myself, because it's small for me. I can't even read it. All right. Special ops. So you have to create the link. So you're sharing instead. And let me
maybe click share on the top right.
Oh, get link?
Yeah. No, that's not it.
Oh.
No,
that's not it. You have to publish it. So you have to publish the link. It's loading, and I'm about to get there right now. Maybe these are the tools. So once you publish the link, then you copy that link and paste it into the incognito tab. So it would be
publish to the web?
The published to the incognito tab.
No, I found under file published to the web. Is that a thing, or?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Okay.
Publish to the web. So publish to the web, and then also click change the seconds where you want to do. Let's do every 10 seconds. And then also check the box start slideshow as soon as the player loads, and restart the slideshow after the last slide. And then click publish.
And then are you sure you want to publish this selection?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
there's the link.
That's the link you copy and paste.
All right,
Perfect.
cool.
There we go.
Now we go ahead and grab that. Go over to incognito. Paste it. F11 because there. Then under here, you're going to see under the settings gear, every 10 seconds, loop. And if you notice it not playing, it's probably because you didn't hit play. And then it will just run. And you can still advance with spacebar and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So I will see you, Ed, in about an hour. Are you still good with the meeting at 8:30, or do you want to push it?
Oh, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Would I be able to make a call and then right after the call just be on this, or do you have something? Because I don't mind getting it out of the way right now.
Okay. So.
Or actually, how long? Let's get it out of the way right now. If you can.
You have okay, and let me end this recording really quick. So thank you guys for watching, who watched a super long video. will do a one-on-one training with Ed. Okay, let me cancel.